I am pleased to confer the Honorary Doctor of Laws degree today. Would Dr. Myer Horowitz please come forward? Myer Horowitz's career has revolved around one constant truth: people come first. Let me make that clear. People come first. To me personally, Myer is a very, very special individual in my life. He has built a legacy through teaching, administrative roles, advocacy, and volunteer work, all centered on sharing his vision for an education system that supports individuals to be their best. I first met Myer in the early 1970s when we served on what would be known as the University Planning Committee at the University of Alberta. He was Dean of the Faculty of Education, and I was Chair of the Department of Political Science. I learned a lot from Myer watching him work the budget on that committee as a member. A number of years later, I had the privilege of serving as Myer's Vice President Academic. We served on the same committee. This time, he was chair of the committee and I was the vice chair. And again, I learned a lot from him. Mindful of the people around him, Myer is known for his thoughtful and inclusive approach. With a keen sense of humor, I might add it's also wicked on occasion. He is very, very generous with his time, and he's very quick to celebrate the achievements of others. Myer, when he was president, had an open door policy. So the vice presidents were not far from his office. We could wander in and out. And Myer was always at his desk, and every time a faculty member, a student, a member of the university community in some way received an honor or recognition, Myer would send the individual a handwritten note congratulating them. His handwriting was impeccable, and the notes were not just well done. He wrote them a personal letter. Throughout his career, he has strived to create a learning environment where people can be productive in their learning, teaching, and community engagement. Born in Montreal, Myer started his professional career as a teacher in elementary and secondary schools. He later taught at McGill University and the University of Alberta, where he eventually served as Dean of Education, Vice President Academic, and President for 10 years. First and foremost, Myer is an educator. Now, I'm going to depart a little bit from the prepared script and tell you a little bit more about Myer. At the University of Alberta, Myer was the chief cheerleader. He would attend all sorts of athletic events. He went to hockey games, he went to volleyball games, he went to soccer games. He went to all these events. His Alberta license plate, at the University of Alberta we had the Bears. His Alberta license plate was Bears 1. Everybody knew who was driving around in that car. It was the president of the university. At his retirement as president, the Graduate Students Association established a scholarship in his name. And one of the reasons I think they did this, there are a lot of reasons, was he had an annual challenge between the executive, the older vice presidents and whatnot, and the Graduate Students Association executive. And it was but it developed a special relationship, and it was recognized as an important incentive to work together with the Graduate Students Association. The Undergraduate Students Association, as part of the Student Union Building, had a theater. When Myer stepped down, there's a large theater. When Myer stepped down, they named the theater the Horowitz Theater. And every once in a while, you hear a concert or program coming from the Horowitz Theater, live in Edmonton. It's named after this individual here. And it is in continuous use. Think about this for a second. The students loved him, and they showed it by virtue of these 2 awards. Another thing that Myer did, when I say people come first, Myer developed the first pay equity program at the university. This took a lot of courage on his part, but he did it. and the rewards were enormous. One final point, at Christmas, Myer would send out about 1,000 Christmas cards. I think of 1,000. And each card had a handwritten message. Now, to be sure, he started this somewhere, I don't know, maybe towards the end of September, but he got them all out on time. So that tells you a little bit about the individual. Outside of the university, he advocated for universally accessible early childhood services and was active in the advocacy that led to the reversal of the Alberta government's decision to significantly reduce funding for kindergartens. He has also worked with organizations such as the Child and Adolescent Services Association, Success by Six, the Salvation Army, and the YMCA. Now a Victoria resident, Myer continues to impact the lives of learners as an adjunct professor at Royal Roads University and the University of Victoria. As a long-standing member of Royal Roads University Ethics Board, his wisdom, experience, lent credibility to the university as it launched its online learning model in 1995. At a time when Royal Roads was viewed by some as a West Coast experiment, Myer saw the potential in the powerful combination of applied experiential, team-based learning and helped others see it as well. And I would be remiss if I did not thank his wife, Barbara, for loaning him to us for all these efforts, because I know that it's very special that he works with us, but Barbara, I want to thank you as well for that. For his lasting contributions to the Canadian education system, Royal Roads University is proud to present Myer Horowitz for the honorary degree Doctor of Laws. Dr. Myer Horowitz, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Royal Roads University Act, and in accordance with the recommendation of the Board of Governors of Royal Roads University, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and honors here and elsewhere there appertaining. Dr. Myer Horowitz will now be whittled by Dr. Stephen Grundy, Vice President, Academic and Provost. I'm supposed to read that President Al Cahoon will now present Dr. Horowitz with this degree. That's what he's done, so you can still keep applauding. It is with great pleasure that I now call on Dr. Horowitz to deliver the convocation address.
Did you notice with what difficulty I had in putting my hat back on? My head grew during the last few minutes. It swelled almost as much as it did during the years when I served as a university president. Many thanks, Chancellor Meekison, for your very generous introduction. To be together on a convocation stage, Peter, is a real pleasure. To be introduced by you is a delight. Eminent Chancellor, Mr. President, faculty and staff, families and friends of graduates, and especially those of you who are graduating this afternoon. I thank you both, Mr. Chancellor and Mr. President, and other members of the Board of Governors for this honor. My involvement at Royal Roads during the last 13 years has been particularly enjoyable and satisfying. President Cahoon referred to President Kelly. Thank you, President Kelly, my friend for more than 50 years, Jerry, for being the first person to have involved me at Royal Roads. And thank you, Peter, for referring to Barbara, My wife, too, should be recognized because she shares this honor, as she has shared so many things in our lives. Thank you, Barbara, for permitting me to spend some of our retirement time at Royal Roads. Graduands, you are here this afternoon because you have earned your Royal Roads University degrees and certificates. I congratulate each of you on your accomplishments. And if your experiences have been at all similar to mine, then there are others to share in your limelight because they too have contributed in important ways to your success. Wives and husbands, parents and children, brothers and sisters, other relatives, teachers, and friends. I commend all of you, and I wish you every happiness and the fulfillment of your most pleasant dreams. We on this platform, and you who are graduating, are among the more privileged in our society. The percentage of people in our country and around the world who study at universities continues to be relatively low. In no way do I minimize your personal sacrifice and effort when I invite you to recognize the debt we owe to the larger community and the responsibility we have to the less fortunate. That is why I congratulate you, Linda Hughes, and through you to the United Way of Greater Victoria for the very well-deserved Chancellor's Community Recognition Award. There is too much ignorance, too much poverty, too much sadness, too much injustice, and too much illness in the world, and unfortunately, also in Canada, in British Columbia, and here in Greater Victoria. The web page for your faculty, the Faculty of Social and Applied Sciences, indicates the need for leaders, and I quote, who can manage change, promote sustainability, build peace, strengthen relationships, and find new opportunities in tomorrow's challenges, end of quote. You have followed programs that focus on skills, knowledge, theory, and research to enable you to develop strategies to deal with urgent and complex problems. Now you know how important is the university education you have gained, and how crucial it has been to combine those educational experiences with the valuable learnings from the workplace that you brought with you to your studies. When on occasion in the future, the challenges and stresses you will face may cause you difficulty in recalling what you learned about the skills in managing disasters or the subtleties of effective communication. When you forget, and you will, what you now know about mediation, leadership, or research, remember what Robert Fulham wrote about 25 years ago in his wonderful book, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Here are some of Fulham's suggestions which will help you in your relationships with others. And I quote from him: share everything, play fair, clean up your own mess, say you're sorry when you hurt somebody. Warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. Take a nap every afternoon. Hold hands and stick together. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work every day some. End of his quote. Really, I do not mean to minimize the importance of what you have learned in your programs. Indeed, I encourage you to consider additional study by returning to Royal Roads or by attending another university. Just think, though, what a better place it would be if we all had warm cookies and cold milk, just about now, and then with our blankies, take a nap. Remember this, graduates. At work and in life generally, hold hands and play fair. And while you'll be doing that, I'll concentrate on Fulham's other suggestion to have my daily afternoon nap. The poverty and illness in Bangladesh, Niger and Haiti, and in too many other corners of our world deserve the attention of us all. But let us not lull ourselves into the mistaken belief that we are immune from difficulties. Just last month, the Mental Health Commission of Canada presented its report, Changing Directions, Changing Lives, which highlights the need to improve mental health and well-being of people in all regions of our country. The Vanier Institute of the Family, in its 4th edition of Profiling Canada's Families, published 18 months ago, reports that many families in our country are being stretched beyond their capacity. Here in British Columbia, in a recent report of the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, we are told that 12%, more than 500,000 people, live in poverty. And closer to home, the Gold Stream Food Bank, which serves a number of West Shore communities near our campus, assists almost 10,000 people each month, and about 1/3 of these individuals are children under the age of 16. And so, is there room for optimism as you face the future? Of course there is. As Anne Frank wrote in her diary, and I quote, "How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world." End of quote. I'll refer to 2 recent developments that improve our community and therefore the world. Close to Royal Roads, in the Souk School District, as a result of hard work by First Nations teenagers, inspired leadership of their teachers and other professionals, and strong support from their families and elders, the graduation of Aboriginal high school students has doubled in the few years since 2008. And on Tuesday of this week, Swift House opened just a few blocks north of this Royal Theatre. This imaginative development to reduce homelessness is a partnership project of our province, the City of Victoria, and the Victoria Kool-Aid Society. These are just 2 recent changes in Greater Victoria that justify optimism for the future. A number of years ago, I came across a poem in a delightful book, The Maple Laugh Forever, an anthology of Canadian comic poetry. The poem by Robert Zend is titled World's Shortest Pessimistic Poem, and it reads, "Hope, nope." That's it. Just 2 words. Hope, nope. Well, that poem deserves a response. And so I too have written a poem. I call it Canada's shortest optimistic poem. Also 2 words, but with a uniquely Canadian interjection or grunt between the 2 words. Optimistic, eh? Yay. Now, it's true that my opus hasn't been published and that I have yet to be nominated for the Governor General's Award for Poetry. But when 50 years from now, you read my poem in an anthology of early 21st century Canadian serious poetry, remember that you first heard it and from the poet himself on your Convocation Day. Look ahead to the future with optimism and excitement. There is great need for sensitive and caring people who are committed to serve. I am certain you will find, as I have, that concentrating on others will bring you great personal satisfaction and happiness. I wish you good health. I wish you success in your further studies. I wish you fulfillment in your life's work, and I wish you much joy and great happiness. Good luck.